Hey guys! Welcome back to our channel. Today we are going to be talking about how I found out I had cancer. We're probably going to make this a 2 to 3 part series. There's just so much that goes into it, but today we are going to be talking about how I found out I had it and like the signs and symptoms. We were going to wait to post this later down the line, but we decided to film this because my mom was at church. And during service, she said that she heard God speaking to her and he was telling her that it was time for us to film this video. We don't know if that means there's someone watching this that really needs to hear some of this or needs to know that they're not alone listening to God. It's time to film this, so. I think that it's important just for people to know they're not alone or just to spread awareness. A lot of people don't think like when you're having some of these symptoms that it could happen to you, but it can. If we can even help one person, then it's worth it. Part of the reason I'm in this too is because we kind of wanted to talk about how our family reacted to this situation as well, because we know a lot of people who have family members that are going through this really have a tough time, just like our family did. And so we just kind of want to share our experiences, what we went through, how we dealt with it, how we got through it, and how it made us stronger in the long run. Everyone's different, everyone reacts different, but this is just me and my family story. So let's get into it. A little bit of a backstory is that I was always a super healthy girl. That's all the doctors always said about me. I was a competitive dancer, I was a cheerleader, I played volleyball. So I was just really active, really busy. I was a senior in high school. I was getting ready to graduate, getting ready to go off to Western University. And I had no symptoms yet. I didn't notice anything. I was still like maybe a little bit tired, but I seemed normal. I was still like going to cheerleading practice and just doing all the crazy end of the year things, hanging out with friends. And it was the summer after senior year of high school. I met my boyfriend and we started hanging out a lot. He told me that he was gonna talk to my parents about making us official. So he was gonna get their permission before asking me to be his girlfriend. I just graduated, I was getting ready to go off to school, I was in a new relationship, and then I started getting some like coughing, and it was really weird because it wasn't just all the time, it wasn't consistent. It'd be like if I was laying in bed watching a movie with my friends or something, I'd be like in a certain position, I noticed I couldn't stop coughing and I'd move and then I was like fine. I went to my primary care doctor. She said she thought it was just viral. She didn't think anything was out of the ordinary, she thought it was gonna go away. And I was like, it's just so weird because it never went away. So this is 2 months before. Then one day I decided to go to the movies with my friends. It was November 4th. And in the movie theater, I couldn't stop coughing the whole movie. And more than anything, I was just annoyed. Why isn't this gone? I did have some chest pains and I had some asthma, but I've always had asthma. So I didn't think there was anything out of the ordinary. I always had breathing problems. But it was a little bit worse. I got back from the movies and my mom's like, okay, you still have this. You've had this all summer. We need to go back to the ER. Like something's going on. Me and my mom go to the ER late that night. So we took some x-rays. I'm waiting in the room. They had to take blood and everything. And I remember I was freaking out because I didn't like to get shots and I was afraid of needles. So I was like, they have to take blood? Are you kidding me? Like, can we come back? Can we do it another day? Do they really have to take blood? They're like, yes, we do. So the doctor comes in our room. And he comes up and he's feeling around my neck and he goes, how long have your lymph nodes been swollen for? And I was just kind of like, what? What do you mean? I don't notice my neck being any different. I didn't notice it being swollen. My mom did say later down the line that one day she was staring at me. I was sitting on the couch watching TV and she just thought, I don't remember her neck being that big. It sounds so mean, but she said she remembered like looking at me thinking something just looked weird. She just thought it looked different and then forgot that even happened. And he goes, okay, so her scan showed a tumor the size of a man's hand over her heart and lungs. And he goes, I already called Children's, you're going to be transferred there tonight. You need to do a ton of more tests, CT scans, we need to find out what it is because it's not good. This is a very serious thing. And I just started bawling. My mom was crying and my mom never cries. I just saw her trying to be strong for me, but I could tell she had like tears in her eyes, just being like, it's okay, you don't know it's cancer. People get tumors for all kinds of reasons. And I think right then I just kind of like knew it was cancer. I hadn't been told those words yet, so it could have been anything at that point. We didn't know how to get rid of it, what the future was going to hold. Before they transferred me to Children's, I went back to take a couple more tests. I got back to do another test and my dad was in the waiting room. And him and my mom both had tears in his eyes. My mom called him right away and he got back from work. Obviously it's really serious when both my parents are there, and she calls my dad to come right away. And so I go back in the room and I'm just like, this is a nightmare. What is happening? I've always been just like a super healthy girl, and now they found a huge tumor over my heart and lungs. Shelby was back at home, and what happened?
I was watching a movie and I had a new cute little kitten at home, so I was just taking care of it.
Chanel.
Her name was Chanel. She's super cute. Basically, I got a call from my dad and he was on his way to the hospital, and he said for me to be ready because Savannah and my mom are coming home right now and they're getting ready to change and we're going to Children's, and this is like super serious. Your sister has a tumor. You need to change and like we need to go right away. You're gonna be gone for the night. And I was like, what? I was literally just sitting down watching a movie just like any other night. I knew she went to the ER. I figured it was just viral or bronchitis or something. I was like, there's no way this is real.
I was texting my boyfriend saying, they just found a tumor. And he goes, you better be kidding. This better not be serious. And I'm like, I'm pretty dang serious. Yeah. And I'm thinking, my life is going so great. Now this just sucks. We all decided to come home and change really quick. We had like 10 minutes. Picked up Shelby and we took off to go to Children's Hospital.
I specifically remember that car ride too. That was the longest car ride of my life.
We were all just sitting there quietly. I think we were all in shock. No one knew what to say. I was in shock. I wasn't even crying. I was just sitting there like, yeah, this isn't real. We got to Children's. I obviously got checked right in, had to go do tons of tests. They told me that a doctor was going to come see me who was going to become my oncologist, my cancer doctor. She comes in the room and she's trying to prepare me, saying that she's 99% sure I have cancer, and even if the test came back that I didn't have cancer, that they still needed to get rid of my tumor and that no matter what I would need chemo. She said that it was really serious and that I didn't have time to freeze my eggs if I chose to, because the chemo is really hard on your ovaries and you could become infertile, and that I would have to lose my hair. So since they were all crying, I was still in shock and I was just losing it. She told me that I was going to need to get surgery the next morning to get my lymph nodes biopsied, which I have a scar here, and that I would also need to get my port put in, which I have a scar there too. There's my port scar, there's my lymph node biopsy scar. And so I never had a surgery before, and then they're telling me that in the morning I was gonna have to get this surgery. They told me that they couldn't take out the tumor during surgery because it's right over my heart and lungs and it would be super, super dangerous. So the only way to get rid of it is with chemo. Obviously I was gonna be inpatient for a few days after the surgery and everything. So that night we go to the room. It's me, Shelby, and both my parents. We all stayed in the hospital room. My family never left my side the whole time, every time I was inpatient. They all fell asleep because it was just such an emotional and draining day, and I didn't sleep at all that night. I kept looking at the clock going, in the morning you're gonna come get me to go get my surgery. I was just so anxious. The sun comes out the next morning and I'm getting bombarded by my friends and people who know me because the word got out that I had a tumor. They bring me back for my surgery, biopsy, and then obviously all the next day I had to take tons more tests. It was just test, getting all these needles in my arms. I had huge bruises from how much blood I had to take and everything. My surgery went well. I surprisingly wasn't that nervous the next morning. I was kind of like, okay, like let's do this, let's go.
She was the strongest out of all of us, even my family. Like, we tried to be strong, but she was definitely the strongest. Like, she had it together more than any of us did.
I also didn't want them to be super upset because it was what it was. There was nothing I could do about it. So I was like, we might as well just get this over with, get started, and get through it. I didn't want people to feel bad for me. I didn't want any of that. I just wanted to go fight. I really was still in shock too. I think that I kind of got over it like super quickly, and doctors were coming in my room making my parents and Shelby leave, and they were saying, are you trying to be strong for your mom? Are you trying to be strong for your family? And I was just like, no. They were really worried about that, but I mean, you can't change anything, so you might as well just learn how to deal with it. It was really overwhelming for both of my parents, but with my dad's career that he's in, he's really used to dealing with traumatic stuff, obviously not with someone in his family. So he's good at keeping stuff together and staying strong for like his family. But my mom didn't. She ended up passing out
and throwing up
and being transferred to another hospital down the street
because she was losing so much fluids that she like had to get an IV.
Her heart was racing.
They couldn't treat her at Children's because she's an adult, so they had to take her somewhere else.
So then my poor dad's like going back and forth, and obviously my mom's friends were like helping her, and she was like, I need to get back to my daughter, and they're like, you need to take care of yourself. I get told I need to get another surgery. I have to get a backbone biopsy. So they put me to sleep for that. Thankfully, I heard that a lot of people, they don't. Then the doctors come in, a whole team of doctors, a ton of people, and they told me that they're my cancer team and that I do have cancer. And they go over the treatments with me, which ended up being about 6 months of chemo, 6-7 months. And then I needed 2 months of radiation. I was 18 years old on November 4th when I got diagnosed with advanced stage 2 Hodgkin's lymphoma. And the reason it was stage 2 and not stage 4 was because for it to be stage 4, I'd have to have started to spread everywhere, and it only started to spread a little bit in my stomach, so they just kept it as stage 2. Now I am 22 years old. I am in remission. I just had my 3 years free of cancer, and I'm ready to tell my story. So this is obviously going to take a few videos to share my whole story and different parts about how my family react, how I was feeling, but this is just the first part about how I found out, how I got diagnosed, and we will go more into details in the next video.
And if anyone is going through anything like this, like health issues or anything, and needs any sort of advice, our Instagrams are linked down below, and you can always reach out to us on Instagram and we will happily give you advice.
Yes, we love to hear other people's stories. I love when people ask me advice on different things and how to help people or what made me feel better about whatever when I was going through it.
Thank you guys for watching this video, and we will be releasing our part 2 very soon.
Yeah, we're gonna go into how chemo was, how radiation was. I have pictures and I have
videos.
Yeah, we'll go through videos, so
thank you guys.
Peace. Yeah. Hello everyone! My name is Savannah Jones. Welcome to Relay for Life 2016. For those who don't know, beginning in 2015 at the age of 18 and continuing until recently, I was diagnosed with advanced stage 2 Hodgkin's lymphoma. Let me tell you a little story to help explain why events like this are so important and why we all need to come together and raise funding and support for awareness, research, treatment for this horrible disease called cancer. Growing up, I was a normal, healthy girl with no major health problems. I belonged to a dance school and competed in dance competitions. I was a healthy and active person and was on varsity cheer from Monroe High School for 2 years. I led a very active social life, and when I wasn't busy with homework and school events, I was busy hanging out with my friends. I graduated in the spring of last year and have been fighting what I thought was just a case of bronchitis or having minor asthma issues. I had gone to the doctor on a number of occasions during this time, and each time I was sent home and asked to use like an inhaler or take tablets for either of these conditions. Obviously, the medication never worked, and my condition continued to worsen to the point I felt pain and tightness in my chest, but I was repeatedly misdiagnosed. Finally, it got so bad I had trouble breathing, I was taken to the emergency room. The doctor who saw me noticed my lymph nodes on the side of my neck were swollen and had to take x-rays. He came back and told me that I should be scared because he would be scared, and that he found a tumor the size of his hand over my heart and lungs. Let me just tell you, nothing in life prepares you to hear something like that. My family and I were all still in a state of shock when I was transferred to Children's Hospital in Seattle that night. The doctors began a constant series of tests and began scheduling biopsy surgeries and creating a treatment plan for me. The doctors and nurses on the treatment team told me that my treatment plan would be months of chemo and before going through radiation treatments. They told me that because of where my tumor was located, they couldn't surgically remove it because it surrounded my vital organs. When they said that I had a long and hard road ahead of me, I have to confess I had no idea what that truly meant. I can tell you that now they sure didn't lie. My cancer treatment has ravaged my body. Halfway through chemo, my doctors had to stop one of my chemo treatments due to severe neuropathy effects it was having on my lower legs and hands. I still cannot stand still in one place without losing my balance. I still can't walk very well and need help from others. In fact, I will be finding out soon if I will have to undergo another surgery to be able to walk normal again. And I still can't do many things with my hands. But what I did prove was that I could beat cancer. Woo! I could not have done this alone. From the first moment I was diagnosed, my friends, my community, and people who I had never even talked to supported me and my family. My doctors and nurses at Children's and UW Medical Center and others gave me treatments, their positive energy, and their support to help me beat cancer. I am so grateful for them all. As of May 16th, 2016, I'm officially cancer-free. Woo! As I said, it was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. Just windy. But I am thankful it is over, except for the ongoing side effects and recovery I'm going to have to do. Yes, this battle changed the way I look at life and most things. Relate for Life is one of them. I have participated in this event every year since I was a little girl. I have always known how important it was. I now understand the fun, support, and awareness it raises saves lives. I am one of them. I want to personally thank you all for your participation and support of Relay for Life. Anyone that has ever had cancer themselves or had a close friend or family member undergo treatment understands that the diagnosis, treatment, and recovery instantly changes the path of your life and redefines you. Going forward, I will be volunteering at Children's Hospital to provide support to patients who didn't have the same level of support that I had received. I most definitely will be continuing to support this amazing event that helps raise money that, among other things, leads to research, new treatments, and cures. At this time, I would like to thank the organizers who allowed me to speak to you today. I want to thank all of my fellow cancer patients, survivors, and their family members who bravely face their own experiences in fighting cancer to be here today. Lastly, and certainly not least, I want to thank all of you for being here and supporting the Relay for Life. No one can fight cancer alone. By coming together and combining our efforts, lives like mine will be saved. Thank you.